Our next guest is a world-renowned intellectual property attorney and the president and founder of the global firm Intelligent Brand Extension. I like the Intelligent Brand Extension. That sounds fancy.
Sounds glamorous.
Yeah.
I like that. And today she'll be breaking down some of the biggest celebrity intellectual property lawsuits, and they are juicy. Shannon, welcome to the show, Tatiana J. Whytellord. So good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
So for those of us who aren't familiar with the term intellectual property, can you break down what that means exactly?
Yes, intellectual property is anything that is created by the mind. So it could be literary, it could be music, it could be lyrics, it could be artistic, and it belongs to you. So property, intellectual property, it's something that's yours. And in the world of celebrities, it's obviously something they create every day and something they're subject to every day, and therefore at times it comes at them from a different angle and not sure whether they should use it or not.
And they're fierce about guarding their intellectual property because that's how they make their money, essentially, right?
Yes, exactly, as they should be. Yes.
But can those things be fully protected? Because a lot of times people say, oh, creative things can't be protected. You know, you try to get copyrights and things like that, but can they fully be protected always?
That's why Tatiana's here.
Yeah.
Yes, excellent point. Excellent point. Thank you very much.
That's why I my company.
So you help make sure they stay protected.
Yes, that's exactly what
Yeah.
we do. That's what I have done for the last nearly 30 years.
And you've really done it. You've worked with everybody from Gucci. You can name drop a little bit. Go ahead.
Yes,
Okay.
I've worked with the likes of Gucci, BMW, Perrier-Jouet, Courvoisier. I've worked with the LVMH Group, obviously the owners of Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and many others in the branding world.
Well, that
Yeah.
explains why you're so chic.
Thank you very
with all
much.
the major
All the
labels.
compliments are coming in. Thank you. My God, I could stay.
You must have a great champagne collection, too. Dinner at your place.
Perhaps.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness. Now, we have to talk about some of the popular things that are in the news right now.
Yes.
There are
Sure.
cases out. For example, there are details that were just released about Robin Williams. They were really recently revealed that he doesn't want Disney using his likeness, his voice. Tell us a little bit more about this case and why he decided to do that.
Yes. First of all, Robin Williams, one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
You know, everyone loves him, and I think it was a bit of a surprise, maybe a shock for everyone when we realized that perhaps we'll never hear his voice for a long time.
Long time, 25 years.
25 years, which is quite novel. So essentially, you know, he decided to put this limitation on his will and create this shield, this financial shield for his heirs. But there's an underlying question as to whether there's something going on with Disney, because obviously he has put a specific mention in there for Disney not to be able to use Aladdin. Now, he might have other things with other companies that we're not aware of, but certainly a very new thing, something that in the course of my career I haven't seen. And you know, we deal a lot with celebrities, and I have dealt a lot with celebrities in the music and entertainment field, and quite a novel
Now,
thing.
what makes this so novel? What makes this unique? I mean, you mentioned his heirs and possibly protecting them. Is that the reason?
Yes, well, there's an apparent reason that he might be protecting his heirs financially.
Okay.
But there's also, in my opinion, the fact that he could just be wanting to control his image, his intellectual property, his words, even from the grave.
And then just to be clear, this is on future projects, not past projects that they've already paid for, but they can't like use his voice and like, recreate a person sounding like him doing Aladdin 4.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I think there's a bit of, if I'm not around, you're not going to have me. You know?
That's what I said to one of my boyfriends.
But I mean, if you think about it, it could have got his children a little bit of extra cash if they created Aladdin 4, because his estate would be able to get paid for that, no?
But perhaps financial implications were not the only things on his mind. I mean, other people like Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson, etc., do not have mentions and provisions like that in their wills, which has allowed their heirs to make a lot of money, but in some cases it's also been a very difficult task to control how their intellectual property is being used.
That's
and I
very
think
true.
this is the real trigger here.
Right.
True. Can we talk about Taylor Swift?
Oh, of course.
Everyone's suing Taylor Swift. Okay, so there's some I was going to say something mean, but
Right.
there's a struggling
Person.
artist out there who claims that she stole the lyrics for Shake It Off from him. Now, the case was eventually tossed out of court, but why would it even make it into court in the first place? Why would it even be acknowledged as something that was worth discussing?
So, first of all, Taylor Swift, as you said, everyone knows her, everyone loves her. She's been around with a squeaky clean image for a long time. It was time some spicy things started happening.
That's
you
true.
know.
More than her cat
we all,
collection.
exactly. Yes. And the other thing also, I think the key word in what you said, sadly, is the word struggling artist. And, you know, celebrities create a lot of aspiration in the wrong way for other people. And here the issue is there was actually no case, as the judge rightfully said, and I think it was a brilliant judgment because she incorporated those words, shake it off, in her judgment. But it was fantastic because she just said, you know, you can't just get up in the morning, go sing in the shower, and then come out and say, oh, by the way, you'll pay me $48 million because I just thought of the same words you have in your song. It just doesn't work that way.
takes
It
a
wasn't
little more.
his, and therefore he doesn't get any part of it.
What would he have needed to prove to make that case even remotely legitimate? What would have had to have been? What would have had to have happened?
I think he should have really legitimately proven that those lyrics were originally his, and that there was a direct link between his artistic creation and the sales of Taylor Swift's records. And there is no such link.
But had he been able to prove that, would she have to pay him royalties? How would that work if the judge had decided that this was a legitimate case and this gentleman did indeed win this case? How much of the Shake It Off money would she have to shake off to him?
Well, then I think the real question would have been, would the judge have decided retroactively? So in other words, you're going to have to pay him for all the records that you've ever sold, which would have been a phenomenal thing.
Yes.
Or is it, okay, so we've decided today, and as of today, you might have to pay X percentage of royalty on the sales of your records, for example. So again, a very interesting question.
Yeah.
And, you know, one always wonders how, when there's a lawsuit, people come up with their amounts. You know, why 48 as opposed to 32 or 65?
Exactly.
You know, because there was no basis. And I think he was representing himself, which, you know, doesn't mean anything. But
Never worked.
It's not a
you
good
know,
thing.
It's not a very good thing.
Not
That's
when
why
it's
we're around.
Powerhouse, right?
Should have called you. Okay.
Okay, we have to talk about another case again involving Taylor Swift. She was
Yes.
sued by a company called Lucky 13.
Yes.
So tell us about this situation.
So apparently it's a reverse. So she used the Lucky 13 trademark herself for clothing.
Okay.
And, you know, what happened there is that the company relentlessly decided that they were going to stay the course, and it arrived to deposition.
Uh-oh.
And she presumably decided that that was time to cut the ties and settle.
She settled.
She has settled. She has settled, and there's a real question around whether there was something there that presumably there were some pictures, some videos that she didn't want to show to the public. But, you know, it could have been that. It could have been the fact that she couldn't be bothered and she had better things to do in life and she wanted to move on. It could have been that she actually realized that this was not the right thing to do and that she decided that she had understood the problem and she was prepared to settle the damage. You know, any of those possibilities could
Now, when a celebrity settles, though, is that an admission of guilt always? Or I guess what you were saying just previously, sometimes they just can't be bothered and they just want to make it go away quickly.
Yes, I think you're right, because honestly, a lot of the times when people settle, particularly celebrities, there's an immediate thinking that, oh, must have been guilty, otherwise he would never have settled.
Right.
He has the money to, you know, to continue a lawsuit.
Yeah, to
but
fight
maybe
to the
they,
Supreme
yes,
Court or
but maybe they don't like to continue. Maybe actually they realize that this is going to go on forever, and it's, you know, A, bad publicity, B, too much money wasted for something that we don't know the outcome of, and C, I've got better things to do in life. So, no, I don't think it's an admission of guilt.
Okay.
Okay, so a lot of us mere mortals, we don't have the amount of money to go to court and fight these cases like that.
Yes.
So how can we protect our intellectual property if we're not celebrities?
Well, you know,
Shannon and I have a lot of intellectual property. That
Yes,
gotta protect
yes,
ourselves.
yes. Well, I can certainly help you. I think that the first most important thing to realize is that in the eyes of the law, and when it comes to intellectual property, just like everything else, celebrity or not doesn't really make any difference. You know, once you own your IP, you own your IP. And actually, there's a very interesting case about that, which is the Jay-Z and Beyonce and the Blue Ivy case, you know, which we might talk about later.
Okay.
But fundamentally, if you believe that you have something that is worth protecting, you should just go out and seek registration of a trademark, of a slogan, you know, talk to some specialized people. It's a very specialized area of law. So, you know, people like me are out there ready to help and give you the right guidance so that you can protect to the extent possible what you have and avoid future litigation costs, because really the preventative approach is always the best one.
So instead of snail mailing ourselves a copy, come to you and you'll protect it for us.
Yes.
Okay, we'll avoid that in all those cases by coming to you next time.
Yes, I think that would be a good
Promise
thing.
me you'll come back here. You
I
were
would love
fantastic.
to come
we
back here.
loved having you.
And I'm sure there'll be many more cases to discuss.
No, there's always going to be some celebrity drama out there.
I would love to come back. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you. It's been
And thank you for being here. We'll be right back with more Rise Entertainment 360.